Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Eugene Honrath from Shadow Warriors. I've got Denny Furey. How are you, man?
All right, how are you, brother?
Good, good, good. I want to do a quick segment, considering your background, um, in reference to everything that happened last night in Orlando with the terrorist attack and the active shooter and shooting situation. Um, Give me a little background on who you are, where you come, what you've done, your background, and we'll get into it.
Okay. Prior to getting the knife making, which I did here recently, I was a law enforcement officer for 20 years up in Oklahoma. Um, my last 10 years were spent as a SWAT operator and a SWAT instructor.
Okay.
And a big part of the last job I had, where I was the SWAT commander, I rewrote the curriculum for the basic SWAT school because I worked at a university, and at the time we had a huge, upshoot in active shooter scenarios and situations happening at campuses and like the nightclub and so on. So I rewrote it and put an active shooter block into the training as well because law enforcement response from the SWAT aspect is completely different when it comes down to SWAT response. Plus, we had to take into consideration that you're going to be coming across civilians with CHLs, CCW, so on, that may be involved in the mix now as well. Now, the situation down in Orlando, we discussed this prior. I mean, there was a lot of ebbs and flows and issues with the whole situation with the security setup. It being in a club because no one could carry a firearm in there. Everybody was being wanded before they went in and checked, and security was a little probably lax and light for the situation. However, I mean, today's scenarios, you can never be prepared for them. I mean, they're going to happen anywhere. Back where in Oklahoma where I'm from, I lived right down the road from where we had the individual go in and behead that woman in the packing factory there and get shot by an off-duty deputy who was actually the owner of the business.
Okay.
I mean, I've dealt with barricaded subjects, things of that nature, possible active shooters, all the way back as early as 2000 when we had one on a school campus, elementary school up in a department that I work in Oklahoma City.
So
Um,
these situations have been happening and will continue to happen. What are some things that if we find ourselves in an active shooter situation that we can do that can better our chances? Nothing's going to be guaranteed, but we can at least better our chances. And this is under the assumption that we do not have a concealed weapon, in turn, or a concealed gun specifically. Um, what are some things that we can do to better our chances in this situation?
the biggest thing is, I mean, with the civilian aspect of it and dealing with the situation, because the average time a situation, an active shooter situation lasts is between 12 and 15 minutes.
Okay.
Approximately, but when you narrow it down to a percentile, 35% of them only last about 5 minutes. And that's up until the point where somebody intercedes, the gunman runs out of ammo, shoots himself, or is taken down by law enforcement or somebody else that intercedes in the issue. Um, a big thing now is people getting their heads on a swivel because nowadays you never know what is going to happen. You need to have environmental and situational awareness. You can't be walking around with blinders on anymore because the world we live in, it's not like when we were growing up as kids. It's not where everybody's riding around till dark on their bicycles, leaving the front doors open and all that, because the world is honestly changing for the worst.
Yeah. So situational awareness, but when we get into that situation, um, what are some things we can do to better our chances? Some specific things, if you have any, after the situation has already started. I definitely agree with you in terms of having situational awareness, and having your head on the swivel. When the situation starts, what are two things that we can do to better our chances?
Big thing is know. I mean, depending on where you're at in the public or anything, know your surroundings. Know any type of exits and egress to get out. The first thing you want to do is, I mean, if no weapon or weapon, if you don't have the training, I wouldn't engage. Is to get out of the area. I mean, get as far away and get yourself to some cover, not concealment, cover, because if this guy is opening fire just like in the club, I mean, those bullets are going to go through anything. You
Okay.
want to get away from the area. Try to remain as calm as possible. I know it's real hard in situations like that, and to observe as much as you possibly can, because any, say, officers showing up to that situation may be using the information they have from you to get in and know, like, how many shooters there are, if you notice what kind of weapons, what the sounds were, because you can, tell them the difference between a rapid fire and automatic weapons, fire, small arms, so on.
Okay. All right. So still be aware of what's going on and get away from the situation as much as possible. Um, in your experience, engaging the shooter or overpowering the shooter, are those things recommended?
Those are one of the last options. I mean, say if you know a way to get out of the building, whether it's breaking a window or going out a door or whatever, that is your best option.
Okay.
However, there's going to be situations in businesses and stuff like that where there's no windows, there's no point of egress for you to get out. Barricading yourself behind a door with heavy objects, and then also putting objects between you and that point of entry to prevent bullets from actually hitting you and stopping the lead. Um, if you have to overpower the individual, if you do have a CCW or whatever, you need to commit to the action, because the thing is, you're not just going to be fighting for escape, you're fighting for your life. You're going to need to commit yourself to that action. If that guy comes through that door, say, if you're the only one there and you're going to have to take him out, looking for weapons of opportunity. I mean, I teach a lot of that in my combatives courses, is looking for weapons of opportunity, having them. I mean, everybody has car keys.
Okay.
You put them between your fingers, as good as a knuck, and they have penetration power. A pen, if you're into carrying a pocket knife, anything you can have, a chair leg, having those things and knowing what you're going to do and being able to pop it off as quickly as possible. Because the thing is that a lot of people get into that zone where something happens, everything goes into slow-mo.
Okay.
It's really not slow-mo. Time is still going at the same speed. So that individual could be there faster than what you're perceiving it.
Right.
You need to know and commit to whatever's going to happen. Now, if there's more than one person in the room and you're with a group of people, I mean, you look at 9/11, the people that tried to take down the plane that over Philadelphia, it was a group of them. They decided that they're going to do something about it, and that's what has to be done. And it's a lot easier to overpower in a group. Yes, there's a possibility that one or more people are going to get injured, possibly killed, but it's going to be more likely that a larger group is going to take the person down and stop the threat from even further violence.
Okay. All right. So kind of the three things on this first topic are situational awareness before the situation even happens, or the event happens before the terrorist attack or the shooter happens. Secondly is situational awareness and getting away from the situation, running away, and still remembering what's going on so you can help law enforcement, others. And then the third thing is if you're going to do something, commit to it, find weapons of opportunity, and do it, whether it be yourself or in a group.
Exactly.
Okay. So, well, those were great things. Thank you so much. The second topic that we discussed talking about is what can people do starting today or tomorrow to prepare themselves for a situation like this, because we don't know when those situations are going to happen.
For like active shooters, a lot of communities now are putting on schools, law enforcement agencies, state agencies, city agencies are putting on schools for emergency response to active shooters for civilians.
Okay.
And it helps. I mean, it's going to embed some more of the stuff that I've already gone over, and it's going to put them in scenarios and help them to learn to react appropriately in order to come out of it alive.
Right.
And those things are. I mean, it started right after they started coming up with alert training, which was the active shooter response for law enforcement. And they decide. I mean, you're going to have civilians in it, and the civilians need to know what to do too, because if not, they're either going to become casualties or they're going to get in the way of the response from law enforcement. And it gives them a little more knowledge base as far as how to respond to those situations. Some of that stuff that I just gave you is from those classes.
Okay. All right. Well,
Also,
yeah, no, that's awesome. I think checking your local resources and finding out. Do you know of any online resources that are reviewing these topics, that are teaching these kind of classes online?
FEMA has online college, online what they call college or school. You can get online, sign up for it, and you can actually take classes for things like that, active shooter and so on. Um, a lot of the ones that I mean, I'm sure I've seen some on YouTube and all that as well. That for even down here in Texas, there's one in Houston. There's one over in San Antonio that have set up online courses and stuff to give you the information you need outside the realms of not doing practicums.
Right.
I mean, and a lot of, like I said, a lot of local law enforcement agencies and stuff have set up classes. I don't know as far as how many smaller agencies have the online aspect of it, but like one day or a few hour courses that they can go out and take to get this type of information so they can further, utilize it and take any other steps that they may need for any type of future incident.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, man. Well, thank you so much for taking time today. Give us a little synopsis of the knife making that you do, because we really appreciate your time. And anything else you want to say in a wrap up?
Okay, let's wrap up with some of this with this active shooter stuff for first. Another thing is, as far as the training goes, and what we just discussed is, if you are inclined to it and you get a CCW, don't just get the CCW, get training with it. A lot of places, I mean, I've seen around here, like Gander Mountain down here around Texas, they actually have simulators where you can go in, they'll put you in situations and you use a laser type gun. It's an actual pistol, and put you in scenarios almost like the FATS programs the law enforcement uses.
Okay.
Help you with your response and muscle memory. Going to the range, getting with somebody that can help you with that. Self defense courses. Anything that's going to help you defend yourself or your loved ones in a situation like this where you may not have an out and you may have to put yourself between you and your loved ones.
Okay.
Now, as far as the knife making goes, I've only been doing it for about 6 months.
Okay.
Mike Cleveland of HLK was one of my big influences. Him and I have been friends for a long time and worked together actually in law enforcement. Uh, he knew I collected knives and and taught edge weapons and combatives. So he said, the best thing to do now is start making them. So I gave it a shot and threw myself into it full time. And it's Fuery's Urban Combat Knives Unlimited. Do it. My page is here online. I'm in a lot of the groups, and I do a mostly custom and a lot of self-defense combative type knives that are practical use.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, man. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today, and check out him on Facebook, and we'll have the links to his social media in the YouTube description.
All right, I appreciate it, sir. Thank
All
you
right,
very
man.
much.
Thank you so much, brother.